Welcome, everyone. We're going to be looking at the starter sets and VTTs today. So file on in and grab a seat and let me know in the chat what. Let me know what your favorite starter set that you've ever played. Any edition, any system. What's your favorite starter set? And let's take a look at. We'll start off with the video for the starter set that just released, Heroes of the Borderlands. And right away, it kind of takes on a different tone, right? The original adventure was keep on the Borderlands, so like an adventure location you went to, and now you're the heroes on the Borderlands. So kind of, I don't like that tone where you're the heroes versus you're exploring cool stuff, but that's the tone it's got. So let's look at the video. Share this and hit play here. Let me know if you can hear this, David.
Hi, I'm Justice Ramin Armand,
Yes.
and I'm the lead game designer for Heroes of the Borderlands, our biggest and best D&D starter set ever. We're showing the game off at New York Toy Fair this weekend, and we thought that you deserve a sneak peek too. Every part of this set has been designed so that you can open the box, start playing, and learn as you go. It's fast, it's fun.
Let me rewind here just to look at the things that they shared while we're going. Okay, so here we go. We got 4 booklets.
Yeah.
Caves of Chaos, the Wilderness, with some lizard folk there, some kobolds in the Caves of Chaos. Keep on the Borderlands, Heroes of the Borderlands. So here's the player book. Keep is an adventure book. So 3 adventure books. So I would assume for the DM.
I'm going to guess that the Keep book is some sort of town home base.
Yep.
And then the Wilderness and Caves of Chaos are obvious.
We got the map of the Keep, and I think Will Doyle and his partner Stacy, I'm drawing a blank on Stacy's last name, I'm sorry, did this one. And I like their maps. They're a little bit more like not super realistic. I don't know what the word with that would be, but I like all the little nuances they put into them, so that's kind of neat. I don't know if they did the actual layer maps or not. That kind of looks like their style, so maybe they did. And then there's a wilderness map there. There's NPC cards here for NPCs.
Game off at New York Toy Fair this week.
Species cards, background cards. We'll see how those come together. Magic item cards, spell cards. Looks like monster cards, Lizard Folk Warden, No Warrior, Goblin Warrior.
Weekend, and we thought that you deserve a sneak peek too.
Then we have here, we'll find out here in a video I'm going to show in a second, these are called character cards. So there's one for the wizard, one for the fighter, one for the cleric that we'll see. I don't have any video showing one for a thief, so I'm not sure if that's included or not. But they have your starting ability score modifiers. No ability score is shown here. They have like some either equipment or spells, like inventory slots kind of, and then some guide for playing the character, including some of your resource management over here. This little card that you can see, this is like a how-to card. If you look at the Pathfinder basic one, they have these little cards that show what a turn is and what actions you can do on a turn. So I think that's a good idea to have something like that for brand new, new players.
Part of this set has been designed so that you can open the box, start playing, and learn as you go. It
doesn't say what this location is here. There's a spell, No Warrior, Goblin Warrior. I expect we'll see no orcs anymore. I think I saw something where Nothics are in here. Given that they made orcs a playable race, they might remove them from this adventure.
It's fast, it's fun, it's Dungeons and Dragons, and it's gameplay for everyone. We designed this set to be...
There's the wizard card again. So you take the class card in purple here. You can see the purple outline of it. You pick a species, you pick a background, you pick spells. Everyone's noticed that bless isn't normally a wizard spell. You pick spells, equipment, and then you're off and playing. And here's the card about what you do on a combat turn.
Be replayable, which means you'll be able to play Heroes of the Borderlands again and again and have a different...
Replayable. So we'll see another video here in a second that kind of talks about the replayability. I'm not sure you can replay the whole adventure again and again. Like, I'm not sure every location is randomized. It might just be that they're counting that there's so many locations you do one per session type of thing. And Caves of Chaos, if you recall, kind of lends itself to that because there's like up to the letter K, I think, in cave entries. So each of those being its own little mini adventure. Each of those can be played in like a 1 hour, 2 hour slot.
Different experience every time. You know, it's perfect for kids, it's perfect for 50-year-old kids, and we just can't wait for even more people to fall in love with this game. There's more to come. Stay tuned to D&D Beyond.
There you go. What do you think of that?
So far, it looks pretty good. I'm particularly tantalized by the replayability thing. I'm going to guess that there's some sort of quest cards or other things where the objectives are different each time you play, and then you go into the big sandbox of the wilderness or the Caves of Chaos and finish a quest and then draw another from the board.
Right, or pick a location, pick a cave to enter. They even talked about swapping out DMs and set up it where you can basically say, okay, now it's your turn to DM this set of caves.
Yeah.
So I have a video from the New York City Toy Fair where they showed this, where a person videotaped them going up to the booth and having the game explained to them. And I got the permission to show it. So I'm going to put the link to the video in the description below after we do our live stream here. Go check out their video. It's really cool. If you're on the live stream, please click like, please share it, and let's see if we get some more people in here. Let us know what your favorite starter set is. And if you have any questions, let me know and I can try and dig into the questions. So this is from the New York Toy Fair, and it's Otakus and Geeks. And let me know if you can hear this, David.
So it's D&T starter set. It's called Heroes of the Borderland.
These are each creature cards: Copper Dragon Wormling, Giant Centipede, Kobold, Warrior. I think these are NPC cards here. You got the map. I think they're gonna have like a poster map of each cave location that's in the adventure. And we get a little bit better focus here later on in the video, so we'll see a little bit more detail later on in the video.
What we do is we took out all of the barriers that people really had. Like, I don't have the time to play a game. I don't know how.
You see, I'm not sure what these tokens are, but these are treasure tokens here. Lots of dice. I don't know if it comes with all these sets of dice or not. Little stand-up miniature, like fobs, like Pathfinder comes with.
Yeah.
Not with bases, but with like a cross piece thing.
How to build a character. So what we did is instead we said, all right.
Here's the little card about how to do a round. Here is the Cleric's class card.
Out of the box, you get some class boards.
Class board. Okay, so they call them class boards. That's what he just said.
Which are like fighter, cleric, like the ones we have here, but we also have wizard and warrior. And then we have hundreds of components that you can pick from to say, all right, I would need to pick a species and a background. So then you're like halfway done. And then you have all of these things right here.
So you like pick a weapon, you pick your other equipment. They tell you what your melee attack rolls are, your ranged attack rolls are. Surprised the fighter is really +5 on ranged attack rolls. Let's see.
Tell you what you need to pick up. So as a
if it's dexterity is
fighter,
+3,
you
I'd
need
be
to grab
surprised.
chainmail, great sword, a lantern, and then another item. Then
But if it's only ranged attack rolls a hurled weapon, then that'd be all right.
you're done. That's your character. You're ready to start. And the DM, which is, this is our DM guide for this. This is like a small, like 10-page thing versus.
So each of those little things is like 10 pages, not much.
Not much.
No, if you look at the map, you'll see it looks like they simplified the maps too. So a little shout out to John Pintar. You can look up John. Let me share this tab here. He's done, some of the maps of some of the classic adventures. Here's the Caves of Chaos. So if you want the old school Caves of Chaos, he's got some really nice maps for that. And that's the inside there. Share this instead. This is the outside of the Caves of Chaos there. So nice stuff if you're playing online. Now back to the video.
The DM guide, which is like 100+ odd pages, which is great. But for this, all you need to do is read through some of this.
So you get your map of the Caves of Chaos there. Multiple entry points.
It's familiar.
as many entry points.
And then you're ready to go. You're ready to start your adventure. You get all of your people together. The party starts going out. And say you're in the Caves of Chaos. They tell you, all right.
After 2 caves, you go up to 2nd level. 3 more caves, you go up to 3rd level.
Today we want to go to Cave A. Well, this is the map specifically for Cave A.
So yeah, 1 map per cave area.
You're gonna have.
And looks like the monsters aren't stand up. The monsters are little tokens that go flat like that.
A bunch of maps, 3 booklets for 3 different areas. You're gonna have 40 plus hours right off the start. So they go into Cave A. Then you go, all right, this.
So here's the map of Cave A. Pretty self-contained here. 1, 2, 3 rooms, pretty small. If we look back at John Pintar's version of the map, Cave A is this one on the right-hand side, the upper right-hand side here. 1, 2, 3, 4 rooms. So a little bit bigger, a little bit more spread out, longer hallways. There are like secret connections between different room areas. So that may be missing. If they're self-contained, you might lose that. I think we'll get to a place that talks about it's either this entry or this entry here, and it calls that there's Nothics in there, which of course weren't in the original. Maybe those might be replacing orcs. Go back to the video here.
Is what I need as the dungeon master for Cave A. All you need to do is set that up and then go through here.
So we were talking before the stream. Remember the adventure Palace of the Silver Princess had almost a pick your own adventure style start to it, and then it got more towards a standard adventure after that. So I don't know if every cave system will be this detailed on how to play it, or if it might be only the early ones.
Go through this dungeon. All of your players will see either combat or treasure, and we go and help you out along the way. Say, if they do this, here's some helpful hints on the side. All of this, correlates to here, so that you're not having any sort of roadblocks or disruption. And we made the math super simple. So say you're this person right here, who's our human soldier fighter, and you want to get to this treasure, but you have this cobalt warrior right there in the middle. So what you do is you start. You go through your initiative, and if you wanted to attack, we have it all laid out super simple here so that we don't have to do that pesky math that no one likes. You have your melee attack, which is your d20.
They kind of call out the dice by what they look like too. So a player who's brand new might know what they look like. I know the Pathfinder one we'll look at real quick. It actually colored the dice. So the dice were actually color coded by type of dice. Yeah.
That's shrewd.
So what we're seeing really is they took Caves of Chaos, but they really simplified it. So you're going to kind of lose some of the fidelity of like old school Caves of Chaos. You can of course run it like it was old school anytime you want once you're familiar with it. But if you're trying to bring brand new players in, might this be a way that they can kind of get into the game? We'll see.
This is a better fit for new DMs, and also the original Caves of Chaos had some stuff that would be challenging when you've got the factions of creatures. That was a big deal.
It was
overwhelming numbers of creatures that could overwhelm and kill a party if you played it that way. There's I think they had the original, I don't know, baby orcs or baby goblins for that sort of unwelcome moral dilemma.
Fun. Yeah. All the kids or not.
Not sure we want to put that in the basic set. So it probably needed a little bit of massaging to make it work for a.
And if you want to play the old school, super complex one, you got the one right over my shoulder here by Goodman Games. I think you can buy that online. And then you, of course, got the original one that you can buy from DM's Guild. And then you get those maps from John Pintar, and you're good to go. So you got the attack roll. You make your attack roll, and then they're going to show damage here in a second. So you hit play on that.
And then what it equals to get there. So since you're holding a mic, I'll do a roll for you. All right, so let's say you got an 8. You're going to add a +5. And then the DM will say on the other side of this, well, an 8 plus.
Nice little monster cards for all the monsters in the adventure.
5 does not meet my armor class. So you have to try again. And then you go through, and another person will hit. I keep getting 8s. There we go, 18.
That's
So
better.
if you get 18, then you know that it's going to hit, and we tell you what the damage is going to be. So you get 2 of those looking dice, which are your d6, and then you add your strength modifier, so it's 5 plus 3 is 8, plus your strength modifier, which is 3.
There's that. Oh, wait. Wisdom is out of order. There's dexterity over there. I was thinking strength, con, dex, but it's strength, con, wisdom, dex, intelligence, charisma must be. Odd order. So +1 dex modifier, they must have to assume that you're only going to use thrown weapons for that +5 melee attack.
Super simple math.
Or ranged attack.
You got, this is the total hit points for this Cobalt Warrior, so you beat that Cobalt Warrior and you're 1 step closer to that treasure.
So this is pretty much for someone like me who has friends that have been begging him to start join, and he has no clue what to do.
And that's the end of the video. And I think he's right on, the person doing the video. It's for someone who has no clue and isn't the super geek that we were when we were kids. I want to dive in and get in all the numbers and get our paper out. And I didn't know how to really play the game for maybe a couple of years after I started playing. I had no idea what half the rules were, and neither did any of my friends. So,
well, I see a starter set that's trying to reach into a little bit more of the high price point, real tactical, not tactile. Tactile is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Experience with a lot of cards and dice and handouts and so on, maps, to feel more like a board game experience that you get, and you've got a lot of stuff in the box to play with and look over and that kind of thing. So it's probably a good direction, especially if they're looking for a little bit higher price point that's maybe a better business proposition than a starter set that's selling for $12 on Amazon a few months after it comes out.
Right. It'll be interesting to see what this sells for, because there's a lot more than they've had in other starter sets. You're right.
For sure.
I mean, if there's a map like this for every cave, and then they have another book for wilderness locations and another book for the town, it could get pretty expensive in a hurry. I mean, you don't want that for a starter set, I don't think. But that is it. So next thing I want to share was, okay, so if we look at the art, there's a lot of people complaining about the art. It's not my favorite style. Doesn't really speak to me. Should be sharing that now, I think. Yeah, okay. It doesn't seem that challenging or that dangerous, so it wouldn't draw me in, but I'd be really interested if they've done some testing. Do they have market research that tells them, no, this is the way we should go? I invited Justice, the lead designer, and I don't know if he would really make that decision anyway. I don't know if that'd be a production decision or higher than that, but it'd be interesting to know, is this what they think will draw people in? Or, I mean, right now we have the capability to get such kick-ass art. Let me share this one instead. So this is the game I want to play. You know, just a god-awful dragon that I'm going to go up against, and I'm some warrior out here in the churning sea. And, you know, it just feels so much more heroic to me. So I'd be real interested if they'd say, no, that art doesn't sell. This art that we're going to put on it is what sells. What do you,
well, certainly to a new audience, that other art might be a better match.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're aiming for a younger demographic, to make it sort of welcoming to a younger demographic, I'm not saying kiddish, but certainly they were talking about what age something to end up. That probably feels more welcoming.
Maybe. I mean, I was 9 years old when I started, right? And I wanted it to be grim and dark. This artist, I just want to shout out to this artist because he's got some amazing work. Stefan, Stefan Koidl, down there at the bottom, you see Koidl, Koidl. Just amazing, some of his art.
Yeah, that is a great piece.
Yeah, and here's another piece of his. You know, this is the kind of art we could have today. And we could take that old school stuff and just really ramp up the danger and the excitement and make people want to, you know, jump in and play a game like that.
Well, some people like to play heroes who succeed at instead of get immediately acidified by a colossal ancient black dragon. But
here is the box that I started with, right? And it's got, and this artwork is not great, right? It's got a red dragon. It's an adult red dragon, but those wings are pitiful.
How could you say that, Tom? That was the most magical piece of art in the
Yeah.
world.
But
And
the adventurers are adventurers. They feel like they're grown, accomplished adventurers going into a dungeon. That's what I wanted to be as I was a kid.
yeah,
And you look at the adventure that was included; they're all grown men adventuring, or women in some cases adventuring through the dungeons. And I'm surprised that they think that this other form sells better. Maybe they're right. Maybe they've done market research. We got a couple comments. Thanks for joining, everyone. Let me just share those in the chat so everyone can see them. We'll share them on the screen. Gail says, I hate it less than on first glance. I really like the palette homage to the Keep on the Borderland original module art. Yeah, the Keep on the Borderland was pretty orangish, right? I think it was pretty orange. You got right behind you. Pretty purple and orange there, David.
yep.
Yeah. And Andrew says, hey, Andrew, thanks for joining. That's a box that's aimed at moms at Walmart, which I think is pretty big audience for a starter set. Yeah. So
I think that's on the nose, Andrew.
yeah, I found my adventure in the wargaming shelves at a White Elephant. I had Panzer Leader, probably Outdoor Adventure, which I never purchased, kicking myself for that, never getting that one. And there was Dungeons and Dragons there, and I pulled it out of the shelf and looked at it. It's got this dragon on the front cover. I'm like, oh, cool, that's really cool. I'm gonna buy that. I can't remember if my mom bought it for me, if I had my allowance saved up and I bought it with my allowance. But I do remember I couldn't afford the AD&D books. I had to get those like for presents, Christmas presents and birthday presents and such.
I was
But
new in my school.
I don't know.
In the fall.
Yeah.
And I overheard some other kids talking about this game where you killed orcs and whatnot, and got experience points, and then got better.
Yeah.
And the idea was absolutely spellbinding to me.
Yeah.
But at the time, you couldn't just go into any old store to buy these things. I have a clear memory of sitting by the phone, which was, of course, connected to the wall,
Yep.
with the phone book at the hobby shop section, calling all these hobby shops, trying to figure out where they were because I couldn't drive at the time. So I had no idea what was far and what was close.
Yeah.
And calling until I found one that had this magical game called Dungeons and Dragons, and then pestering my mom to take me there. So, I also remember going into this hobby shop with the trains and all the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I might be misremembering it, but I'm confident that there was a shelf in the center of the shop, and there was a single beam of light descending from the heavens onto this holy book. So I snapped that up and devoured it immediately.
Yeah. I don't know if my mom would pick this book out and say, oh, that's a good thing for little Tom to have. It feels like the kids have got to make the first initial, hey, I like that. And thanks for joining, Kate. I just got on when you said Panzer Leader. I have Panzer Leader. The first one was Panzer Blitz, wasn't it? I think it was Panzer Blitz, and I had that one too. And then Squad Leader after that. And yeah, so I was always about the wargaming aspect of the game for sure. Now, okay, so now the next thing I want to look at. Okay, so you got this old artwork, and it's not great artwork, but it kind of gives you a feeling of adventure. And they've been doing some updates to some of the old artwork, which I really liked. Wild Beyond the Witchlight did this with a bunch of these characters. You have Warduke, you have Zarak, the dwarf-sized goblin, and you have this is Kellic. So these were all little figurines that you could buy, not miniature figures, but figures, action figures. And I never really liked those too much when I was a kid because they were too childish. But I was only like 11 years old, probably. But they just seemed like too, little kiddie for me. So, and the cartoons I didn't like that much, but I like it when they bring the artwork into the more grown-up realm. And I'm just really curious. I'd love to talk to someone at Wizards of the Coast to see if they've done any kind of research that tells them, no, this is the right way to go. That's going to get the most sales for us.
For moms buying that box at Walmart, I'll bet you that's
Might be. I don't think it is. I honestly don't think it is. I would.
Okay.
But then again, I'm not losing money as fast as Hasbro is, so I don't know. All right, so let's talk about other starter sets. In the chat, what's your favorite starter set? What's the starter set you started with? And what's your favorite starter set? And I'm going to do a poll here. In the chat, do you think, which would sell better in your opinion? So this will be better selling starter set. And the question will be Bright and Heroic. Grim, also Heroic, and Perilous. You start that. There you go. Let me know in the chat, or yeah, in the YouTube chat. So if you're watching from somewhere other than YouTube, jump on YouTube and you'll be able to see it there. And Agil says, I see similarities with this box cover than the Metz or Red box, just different forms of contemporary art. I want to look at a starter set coming out, which is also kind of showing, these figures are all brightly colored. They're mostly adults, though. It's not like they're showing kids on the starter set. This figure almost shows kind of halfway kids, but puts them in kind of a more perilous situation. So let me share this one instead. This is the starter set coming out from Troll Lord Games. Let's see if I can get a bigger picture of this. Open image, new tab. There we go. So here we go. So they're still kind of kiddish, more kiddish, maybe even D&D cover shows, but there's some danger coming. They got, a horde of goblins coming after them. The bridge is out. What are they going to do? So that's pretty cool. I like that one. And then let's look at the other stuff. This starter set's $24.99, and looks like it comes with Into the Dark, directing the game. So like a player book, a DM book, and maybe an adventure book. And each of them are kind of kiddish in style, but with peril. And I don't know if this is the same artist that did Dragonbane or not, but I kind of like this art style. I like the Dragonbane art style, which is similar to this, where it's almost like folklorish looking, like on the monsters, and they're hiding out from that giant ogre that's coming after them. And then these guys in the dungeon by some pillar of a rat with all sorts of rats coming after them, maybe, if that's what those eyes are. So that's the Troll Lords game starter set.
All right,
that's also
Grognards are going to come out with torches and pitchforks for me, but the palette of that new starter set does remind me a little bit of the same sort of Technicolor palette of the Errol Otis covers. Yeah,
like the expert set, the basic set, that were right after the Holmes edition.
Right.
Tabletop Tips with Pixax says, got Moldvay basic for my birthday in 1981. That would have been the red one, right? No, that's Menser. Moldvay is the one that had the Earl Otis covers, I think.
Yes, I believe that's Moldvay.
Yeah. I do think the first 5E set is one of the best. Yeah, we'll look at that. We'll look at Vandelver. And that's free still. I think you can still get that for free, which is what a starter set, if it doesn't come with a lot of stuff, should be free, right? If there's not a lot of dice, not a lot of miniatures, then I would think you should be getting it for free. So let's look at this one. It comes with some character sheets and some dice and 3 books. And it's $25 and a nice box set for it. Now, go back to, here's Essentials. So there's like already 3 starter sets for D&D. We have the Essentials starter set, which came with dice and little maps and a bunch of cards. Were those like magic cards? I don't remember what was in the cards in that.
They were punch-out cards.
Like for magic items?
Probably, yeah, for magic items.
Okay.
There were quest cards, which I think was a good idea.
Yeah.
Where you'd pick the quest that you went on next. If I remember correctly, yeah. with the
Right.
request cards. I like that idea, so people can, focus on their objectives in the adventure.
Had a cool DM screen, cool box, of course. Tie in probably to D&D Beyond for it. I don't know if it came with like a little code that you got your D&D Beyond copy free or not. That was $35 for that one. And then if we look at the let me share this tab instead. Dragons of Stormwreck Isle is the most recent one. And this one, I think it came with dice for sure in the box. And I think character sheets in the box. The one I'm looking at has got links to the D&D Beyond stuff, but the D&D Beyond version looks like it's $13. The physical format looks like it's $20. And that was all through Target and such, and some fine artwork. And they took and kind of updated the cartoon characters in this one, made them a little more grown up. That was pretty cool. Although it didn't really tie into the adventure much. They weren't really like characters in the adventure. Heroic Maps just released a set of maps for that one, by the way. So if you're wanting to play that one, they have fantastic maps you can grab. If you look at the Clifftop Observatory and just some of their maps in there, with the bridges that come in. So real nice stuff there. And you can also check out, I've done videos on how to run D&D Dragons of Stormwreck Isle. I've done that for all the starter sets, I think. I think I have videos like that for the Essentials. I'm not sure. But then here's the one that everyone loves, Lost Mine of Vandover. Just a really good set. I'm pretty sure this is free on D&D Beyond. I don't know if you can get to it if you have a free D&D Beyond account. You might be able to. And just a really great adventure. So of Essentials, D&D Beyond, of Essentials, Vandelver, and Stormwreck, which one was your favorite of those ones, David?
Oh, Vandelver for sure.
Vandelver for sure. Anyone on the chat, what was your favorite on that? And by the way, winning is actually Brighton Heroic is winning right now in the poll. So I may be wrong.
I ran all three of them and liked them all, but Vandelver was the best. I've also played that one. Tom, I have a question for you because I think you run all of them. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about that model where there's the job board and people are picking out little 2-hour quests from the board?
I guess it depends on what you're doing, right? If you're trying to do pickup games, in a night where there are like 2-hour slots that you really have to play, that works pretty good. If you're trying to do 4-hour slots, it didn't work that great because you kind of want to know. You don't need to know whether you're going to pick in advance, but if you're doing a virtual tabletop and getting the monsters and tokens already, you'd like to know what they're doing in advance. So
yeah, having run both of those in the gaming store and Vandelver, I felt the cards, the tables were coming back every week. And I thought the players, this was my read on the mood of the table, were getting a little tired of the quest of the week and feeling like they wanted to have something that built towards an overarching story like they had in Vandelver.
Yeah. You had the overarching story of the dragon in the end. And that's always hard when you have like a goal and you're like, why don't I just go to the goal? Why am I doing all these little errand run adventures? Well, because you need levels. Yeah, that feels weird. Miguel says Essentials isn't really a starter, more of an accessory kit. Yeah. It also had some pretty harrowing early adventures too you could run into. Did you ever kill any characters in that one, David?
Was that the Manticore one?
There was a Manticore. There was an ooze. I'm not sure if it was an ochre jelly or if it was a gray ooze or what it was. Oh, the cards were items and condition references for that.
My players were experienced enough to know that those encounters were over their head and they better talk fast instead of draw swords.
I really think Essentials was a fantastic value. Yeah, it was pretty good value. You got a lot for it, that's for sure. There was a lot of adventure in there. It took a long time to play every part of that one. Vandover's great adventure, a great intro box into the system. Yeah. Now, what Vandover has, and lots of other first level adventures like In Search of the Unknown and keep on the Borderlands is it's a really big adventure. You know, if you're a brand new DM and the goblin part's easy. And Phantolin's kind of easy because you just pretty much get funneled right into that underground thing. But then you get to the chapter 3 and the party can go any direction, and you kind of got to know all the locations before they go there. And so it's a little bit of work on the DM. And that's how old school adventures were too. There's like, you know, I'm reading Village of Hamlet right now, and there's so much to read to know what the basic stuff that the party could run into might be. So for sure, the way they're doing the starter set, at least what I've seen in the videos, it's much simpler. And if they're providing all the maps already, and you just got to throw down a map, and you got all the cards for the monsters, and the players got their what do they call them, hero cards or class cards, it's gonna be real simple for sure to play a game. Just pick up a game at a convention or pick up a game at the game store. And so if that's what they're going for, I think they're kind of doing a good job on that. You say that, but that very first goblin encounter claimed 2 out of 5 PCs my first time running the module. That first goblin encounter can be rough, right? Goblin ambush, because goblins can do their what is it, where they can use a bonus action to like sneak away and a bonus action to hide, and they're got higher ground and they're shooting out of the trees. It is actually a pretty tough encounter.
If you use goblins tactically the way they really want to be used with those bonus action hides and whatnot, they can be a nightmare.
Yeah, I don't think it was necessarily the dice gods. It can be pretty brutal. It is a dangerous fight, and I think I had the goblins, a couple of them charge into combat right away and a couple stay back. But if you had them all stay back, oh, that'd be rough.
Yeah.
Okay, that's Phandelver. And then same thing for that one. If you want to get maps or maps to that bundle for that one, just beautiful maps that I use when I run it. I also have a how to run it video that I did for every part of that one that you can check out. And then so that's it for the D&D starter sets. I didn't go back and look at any of the old starter sets except for the very first one I had. I know I own the red box. I remember running Palace of the Silver Princess for my kids, and they were very young. They were like 7 and 5, I think. And it really went well because the first half, the first like 5 rooms of Palace of the Silver Princess is like a pick your own adventure thing. And so they just, here's 3 choices. What do you do? And then by the time they were done with that, they were already kind of exploring on their own. They befriended everything they ran into, found out that there was an evil dragon taking all sorts of treasure from these poor lowly goblins in there, and headed up a rebellion to go fight the evil dragon. So it was a fun first adventure for them.
Yeah, that sounds about right for
kids like that.
Kids
like to befriend stuff.
Right, absolutely.
So speaking of that, and you were talking about Caves of Chaos and how it was originally written. You had kobolds, you had orcs, you had goblins, hobgoblins, and there was really no they had factions, of course, and they were not necessarily aligned with each other, but there wasn't this hard disagreement with them necessarily. Now, if you don't have any orcs and all you have is goblins and hobgoblins, they'd be fey, right? Kobolds would be draconic, so they're going to avoid the fey, and gnolls would be actual demonic creatures, and no one would want to be around gnolls. So it might play into keeping the monsters isolated from each other and not working together better than it did before.
Yeah, well, it sounds like this is not going to be a sprawling sandbox because everything that's playable is going to be on one of those map posters.
Yeah. The Pathfinder starter set. So here we go with the Pathfinder starter set. Like I said, it has colored dice. You can see them down here on the bottom left.
Smart.
And if you look at the character sheets, they define the dice by color, different characters. They have these little player reference cards, which, it's a pretty complicated little game, Pathfinder. I mean, it's a simple in idea. You got 3 actions and things take various amounts of those 3 actions. You got 1 reaction. I think you had little tokens you put on these to use up as your turn went by. And these feel a little bit more technical and thorough maybe than the ones I saw on the D&D beginner set, but I didn't see them very well in the D&D beginner set, so not positive. And I don't know what does this one go for? Pathfinder beginner box. Throw it in my cart, buy it, order the beginner box today. See what I have to pay for this guy. It is print edition, $45. $45.
Bet you that's about the price point that they're going for the new beginner box too.
I bet. So we already looked at Castles and Crusades. They got an interesting beginner box coming. Let's look at a really cool one here. Let me share this one. Shadow Dark. I love Shadow Dark. And you can get the PDF of the player's guide and the Dungeon Master's guide and characters, quick character sheets for looks like 6 different, or maybe 8 different characters, 7 different characters, and it's free. So this is free. And of course, if you're doing electronic, your beginner box should be free. I don't think you should have anything that's, if it's just PDFs and you want to get people into your game, make it free.
Absolutely.
And then if you're going to play Shadow Dark, I've got videos of Shadow Dark gameplay, and even this first adventure, how to run this first adventure, Lost Citadel of the Scarlet Minotaur. I didn't ever ask Kelsey, but I wonder if that Minotaur is a homage to the Minotaur in Caves of Chaos. Wonder if that kind of came from that at all. And then I'm working on a game system. Here is what the welcome screen would look like for a brand new player. Just one page here that kind of explains what RPG is and what the character sheet looks like and what the different parts of it are. Screenshot that, take a look at that. Let me know in the feedback in the chat what you think of that. Does that make sense? Would a new player understand what the game was about from that? And that's it for starter set. So let's look at what the voting came up with in poll. Where does it go? I only got 4 votes. But 3 of you voted for Bright and Heroic, which I'm surprised. I definitely prefer the other versions, but that might just be me. Okay, so that's starter sets. Cool that we got to see that the starter sets come in. Interesting that it's really not like just a repeat of Keep on the Borderlands, if that's what you're hoping for. It looks like it's a much simplified Keep on the Borderlands, so you can really introduce brand new players who don't know anything about D&D into the game. In theory, what the starter set should do. So let's look at now the virtual tabletops. So here's the Sigil 3D virtual tabletop. And let me get back to the chat here real quick before I go any further. Tabletop tips with Pickaxe Pathfinder 2 starter set is very good. Good for teaching the game. I've never played that starter set, so that's good to hear. I think Level Up 5e has a starter box now too. Thanks, Andrew. That's cool. I should check that out. Big fan of Shadow Dark again. It was vying hard for my game against Swords and Wizardry Complete. Yeah. My game that I'm working on is Shadow Dark with just my little changes to it, because I really like how fast Shadow Dark runs. But there's little nuances I'd change. And I think I'm somewhere in the spectrum between Shadow Dark and 5e, but that's a broad spectrum. And I'm much closer to the Shadow Dark side on that than I am to the 5e side. So, okay, so here we are looking at the Sigil. This just dropped almost like randomly. Who was surprised by this just dropping randomly? There's no video on how to play. There's nothing. And so I took a first look at it. There's a first look video. Just search for Sigil d20play on YouTube. You'll find my first look video where I blindly go in and just start messing around with it. It's kind of cool. You can bring characters in from D&D Beyond. Doesn't look like it ties them to D&D Beyond though. Like you can't play from D&D Beyond. You can import and then, re-import if you update your D&D Beyond character, I think. It's got some of the spells in there with animations. I didn't see a really good way to do Fog of War. It's got Fog of War, and it's like each block of fog you put in, you have to individually add or delete. So I'd love to see a video on how to do Fog of War the way they intended. Just lots. I'm just surprised they just dropped it. They were doing alpha playtest stuff like 2 weeks before they dropped it on D&D Beyond, which makes me think they were told by their boss to get it out. Like, hey, you're 4 months late. Put out whatever you have. I would love to hear from whoever the makers or the producers or workers are if that's what was happening. Yeah, I was surprised there was no real run up to Sigil. I don't think it's ready for prime time. It's basically just the alpha version with one small adventure. Best 3D VTT UI UX in the business, in my opinion. Okay. So let's look at their video. So when I did my video, I didn't really remember that this one was out there. And it answered a lot of questions I had. So let's take a quick peek at this guy. This is what they talked about, gosh, how long ago was it? 6 months ago.
There's sound? I'm not getting any.
Not getting sound? Let me try. Share this now. Okay, tell me if you hear this.
Yeah, nothing.
Any sound now?
No, nothing.
Let me just try to reload this screen then. Go back to this one. Reload this guy. And share again. And try it now. Any sound now?
Yeah, sorry, no.
Huh. Anyone in chat, let me know. Thumbs up or thumbs down on sound. So here's, a really cool map, but this, as far as wait, this one, no, not exactly like this, I don't think. Maybe
This
one
isn't
is.
from the adventure that dropped with the.
I think it might be, but
Okay.
slightly different. No sound on our end. That's too bad. Okay, well, I guess you just get video and I'll tell you what they're saying. No, the important things they say is.
Well, this is like all these backgrounds that they've made is just gorgeous.
Yeah. They had this little bug where the owlbear would come in small size. You'd have to change it to small and back to medium, back to medium and back to large to make it big size again.
Adorable
The
little
dice rolling's pretty
pygmy ogres in there.
Yeah, little pygmy ogres were coming in. I didn't see those characters. There's a gelatinous cube there. You have the little, fob tokens that you can do. It looks like the Mordekaiser's sword or something. There was a lot of spells there are a lot of spells that didn't have animations for them, and spells that did weird things like like Misty Step. It would just say, it would pull up a die roller as if it was waiting for you to roll a die, and then you could say complete with another button. So it's like, really, this is the state you're at? I was really
here's what I loved seeing is you fireballing, and it pulled up that sphere that you could move around, and then the little pointers came at the top of the sphere to show what creatures were going to be in the fireball, and then you click to activate the fireball, and it rolled all the damage for you and rolled the saves of the creatures in the fireball and applied the damage to them. So that was pretty damn cool level of automation. Now, a lot of the stuff you were running didn't have much automation at all with the spells. It was kind of a weird mishmash because the one spell slowed somebody and that applied the condition, but most other things, it was on you to kind of apply the conditions or whatever from the spell or attack.
Yeah. Got some comments here. Let's see. From Miguel, to illustrate my meaning, they use a very similar control scheme for building to the Sims PC game, and against peers like Tailspire, it's night and day better. So I've never used Tailspire. I was always been kind of interested in it. With all of them, they seem very blocky in how you build stuff. Tailspire seem very blocky, almost as if you're building with what is
Minecraft?
That? Yeah, not Minecraft. Dungeon craft, is that what it is? Anyway, the walls are very thick, and this one's a little bit thinner, so that's good. I like that. No sound on our end. Heroescape tiles, is that what they use here? Heroescape tiles. No, I'm not thinking Heroescape, not thinking that. Okay, let's look back at the video here. And it did say I don't have audio finally on my end, so let me see if I can copy this to another tab.
the great potential would be if there's some sort of community place where people can make their dungeon layouts and share them or sell them.
Yeah.
And
So they kind of answer that in this video, and I didn't know the answer when I was doing my live stream, but they kind of say yes to that. That'd be good. I mean, they need a community, right? They're not going to do it on their own. They need a community really building for them. The other thing I didn't know about when I was looking at it is how does the DM prevent the players from just kind of zooming out and checking out the whole dungeon, unless you do Fog of War all over the place. Can you hear it now at all?
no, there's got to be something going on with the Fog of War that we haven't figured out yet.
So yeah, here's a roll an initiative for all these guys, and we'll sort them all into initiative order. Now, one thing you did note, or one thing I know that a virtual tabletop should do with any game like this game is kind of put all the rules right at your fingertip. And it's kind of getting a little bit almost ridiculous how bad the rules are with 5th edition now. I'm going to share this tab so you guys can see. Should be seeing my roll 20. So I use roll 20, and I like it because I can kind of populate what I want to populate, how I want to show it. But look at a character. I'm just going to pick a fighter. So this is a fighter barbarian utilizing, I'm going to grab a flail attack. Utilizing a flail attack. And he's also a grappler. He's also like a master with bludgeoning weapons. I forget what that's called. But let's look at this. So here's his flail attack. I got his attack roll and a second roll for if he has advantage. He has advantage if he's currently grappling a creature. He does damage. He also does a different damage once per turn with Savage Attacker that he could take if it's more. Plus, if he's raging, he does 2 more damage. Plus, his first attack on his turn, when he's raging, he does more. That's 5 Necrotic Radiant. Plus, he can move a target 5 feet to a vacant space once per turn, as long as they're one size or more less than max higher than him. Plus, he can push a large target up to 10, or if he doesn't want to do that, he can grant disadvantage on the next attack that target makes before the start of his next turn due to sap, or, and this is a fighter thing, when the fighter gets high enough level, they can do multiple weapon masteries. He can slow a creature down, and if he gets a crit, he can attack a target. Attack versus that target will have advantage. They'll start of his next turn, and he can immediately move his speed by 2 because he's a champion fighter. I mean, it's just ridiculous the amount of stuff that a player's got to decide what to do or not do. And if they don't have the shorthand for it, can you imagine the delay in the game for people looking stuff up for this stuff? I mean, it's like D&D's jumped the shark. It's really bad. I can't believe they've done this to themselves. It doesn't feel like they care. At least any of the live streams I watch, they're not really doing a real D&D. They're not like in real combat, or they're not trying to go fast and have an engaging, rapid type of combat. That's him. Here's the ranger with all his various things he's doing, and then it's just crazy.
Perfect. I think can go back to one of those quotes you just had and put that in your thumbnail and get some views.
Get some views on that. Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry, but the answer was to simplify when they went to 2024, not to just add more stuff. And it's crazy that they've done it. And I think they're gonna really pay. I think it's gonna really hurt their sales. Anyway, let's go back to this video. Too bad you guys can't hear it. So they talk about they go through this part in the middle here, and they're talking about how the DM can bring in any kind of different adversary, and they can play with any rule system because it's just a 3D tabletop with terrain and a dice roller, and any game system would work in it. If they'll open that up so they can really customize the game systems, that's really going to be interesting if they do that. I mean, they need to do that. They need to get a lot of people modding for the system to really engage everything the system can do. And then they even talk about you can bring in whatever miniatures you want. Here's Dritz fighting a Transformer, Optimus Prime, I think. And they talk about, of course, it's prime ground for selling stuff, right? I mean, they could sell miniatures in here. I could see all sorts of terrain they could sell. Hopefully that's not what they end up doing. but it's certainly possible for them to do that. So that's their VTT. And like I was saying, for it to be actually useful to run a fast game with their system, you got to have all these rules things at your fingertips. And it's a long way from having that. Any attack a high-level fighter's making, you're going to have to look all this up. Or they're going to have like a separate notepad with all this thing in it. D&D Beyond doesn't even do this. They don't put at your fingertips everything your attack does or could do with 5 different, feats and 5 different class features and stuff. So
yeah, that's a good point. You can spread those tack on consequences of your attacks all over the character sheet, and can be hard to find.
Yeah, mods and map mini sharing will be key to Sigil's success. Totally agree. And yeah, they got to catch up with Roll20. I'm just got to hit great big head start. Foundry, great big head start. I really like their maps program, even though I haven't used it. And it looks like they're really actively developing it and adding features to it. So that's interesting. And it looks like it's tied directly to the D&D Beyond character sheet, I think, which of course is a big plus. And if they can get Sigil tied directly to the D&D character sheet, that'll be huge for them. DM Greg, condition overload, the amount of saving throws, condition effects, class abilities are off the charts. 2024 just breaks at higher level. Well, old D&D kind of did too, but 2024 turns the dial up to 11, I'm afraid. Did not make it better. They did not take high-level play and say, we need to simplify this a little bit, make it more streamlined and fast. They said, oh yeah, fuck you, we're adding more stuff to it. Thanks for being a DM.
Definitely lost the plot on trying to make things play fast as a design goal, which we kind of saw a little bit even in early 4th edition, where they were trying to make the powers play fast with just one roll to resolve a whole bit range of attacks and skipping the saves and all that kind of stuff. I mean, obviously they didn't achieve the goal because there were a lot of other things that slowed down the combat, but that was something that they were keeping in mind. And I think probably in early 2014, they were trying to do some of that, but now it's out the window.
I know. And it makes it feel like, boy, this is going to slow really bad, I think. And then they're going to end up having to do something like they did with Essentials, where they're going to like, oh God, we got to patch this. Sales are tanking. We got to simplify it. I don't know how they do it. This is the ball board. This is the adventure that comes with the current dropped play test for Sigil. That's open to everyone in D&D Beyond. Even free people, even people that get the free version of D&D Beyond can get this. So we're going to try and play this on Saturday. I'll probably drop a video on Sunday, and we'll see how it went. We'll see how an actual game of D&D goes using Sigil. It'll be first level characters, so it'll be a pretty easy game.
I'm super excited. I'm sure there will be minutes wasted with us thrashing around with the user interface. So,
but yeah, first level characters, you can't waste too much time.
Right.
All right. That's the video, guys. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for taking a look at the starter set, which seems a lot different than I thought it might be. And with what they're going for, I think they're probably getting close to hitting the mark on that. I don't like the art. I like the other art that they have, the more grim art, but looks like I'm outvoted. And I will see you all later. Thanks for joining, Dave.
Yeah, pleasure. Bye, folks.